Welcome to Yoga with Val. You may notice I'm surrounded by a number of props. Please don't let that put you off. Have a listen to how I'm going to describe the use of them, have a watch of the video, then decide if this is for you or not. This is designed to be a nice, soft, gentle practice. It may be that you found yourself sitting for long periods of time. This is going to help you to open up, particularly through the hips. So there'll be some parts of the session where you might want to be working from a chair. If you need to support hips or knees, you might find it beneficial to have a clear space on the wall. If you're working in a space where there's a door or any sort of furniture, please be very careful and adjust as you need to. And do let other people know not to enter the room. So the concern here, of course, is the door handle. Other things I'm surrounded by. So I've got a little stack of blocks here. You can use a stack of books, preferably the larger, deeper books that you can use so you have less of them. I'm very fortunate that I have a bolster. If you don't have a bolster, you might want to, this is a pillow tie it together both ends and then tuck the belt ends into the pillow. So that is a modified version of a bolster. You may have a sleeping bag in a stuffed sack that you want to use. You might have some sort of bean bag. To work from the chair, I've also got myself a cushion and I've got an eye pillow. Now the eye pillow, you can make one of these. You'll find tutorials online. You fill them with something that's got a little bit of weight to it. Okay, typically dried beans or lentils. The smaller the better when it's sitting over your face. And the idea is the weight of that bag will help to keep it over your eyes when you relax. You might also find this is useful for sleeping in general. So I'm going to put those to one side. We're going to start this session from a standing position. Bring your feet in to a comfortable distance for you. If you're happy to bring them in together, bring them in together. We're going to focus on standing tall. Think about lifting the toes, bring the toes down onto the mat. If you want to, rolling the weight into the balls of the feet and sinking through your heels. Aware of your foot touching down into your mat. Weight under the toes into the heels and outer edges. Arches lifted. So we're feeling that we're putting a footprint down onto our mat, very much as you would if you were standing in wet sand. Think about your legs being nice and upright. We don't want to lock out those knees. So locking out those knees is when you push the knees back behind the ankles. If you suffer from hyperextension, just be aware of that. If anything, keep a little softness in the knees rather than having them overextended. Your legs are nice and upright. Your hips are directly over your heels. Think about bringing your pelvis into a nice neutral position. If you know you naturally stick your bottom out or you slope into your lower back, then please adjust. A little tone through the tummy muscles and the lower back. Sense of lifting that rib cage away from the hips a little. Create some space in your mid-region. Lengthen the spine, lengthen the neck, chin level. Relax and release your shoulders. We want to feel our weights going down into our feet and our spine is growing towards the ceiling and our shoulders are soft and our chest is open. If you want to adopt a hand mudra, thumb and first finger touching. Nice and tall. Aware of your body. Weight down into your feet, spine stretching to the ceiling. And taking a few nice deep breaths. As you breathe in, creating space and opening. As you breathe out, allowing your body to soften. Try not to lose the height through your spine. Sticking with your focus to your breath, bringing that attention into your body. If you're not comfortable to close your eyes, then of course keep them open. If you can close the eyes, it assists us to bring the attention deeper into the body. So we're taking a nice deep breath. Long, steady in-breaths. Slow, thorough out-breath. Try not to rush. We're focusing, we're settling. What we refer to in yoga as becoming here and now. Really bringing your mind into your body. Focusing onto your breath. Creating some space in your spine, sense of feeling upright. If you have got your eyes closed, you might want to open them at this point, and we'll do 3 nice deep breaths. Breathing in, stretching those arms up towards the ceiling, palms will lightly touch. As you breathe out, your arms drift down. 3 of these, if you're happy to, in-breath, reaching for the ceiling, palms touching, out-breath, arms drifting down. Number 3. And taking a moment to pause at the end of this out-breath. Feel what's happened in your shoulders. Have you kept that height through your spine? So we're going to work those hands behind the back now. It may be that you can come straight away with the palms together, fingers facing down. If that's the case, wonderful. Focus on drawing those shoulder blades back so we're opening the chest. Often if we've been at a desk on our technology, we round forward, so we want an opening stretch. So palms are together. If you can't come to here, think about holding your hands. Maybe you can clasp your wrists. Maybe you can move along the forearm a little. If you're working hands like this, just try the other hand on top. So however you've got your hands clasped, fingertips down wherever you are, think of opening that chest. Try and keep your spine nice and tall, your chin level. Feel your chest is opening. And we release. We can have a little wriggle through those shoulders. We're going to work a little into the neck. If you're happy to have those palms together or wrists grasped behind you, then keep that position. We're going to work through the neck in the way that's comfortable for you. So think about drawing the chin down in towards the throat, try and lengthen the back of the neck. And keeping those shoulders relaxed, take your gaze up towards the ceiling. Don't allow the back of the neck to collapse. If you need to, you open the mouth. And then we draw the chin down in towards the throat, stretching. Feel this stretch through the back of the neck, maybe between your shoulder blades. And lift your gaze to the ceiling. One more if you're happy to. Chin drawing in. As you're ready, lifting the gaze to the ceiling. Return your head to center. Sometimes it's nice to have a little wriggle into those shoulders if you felt that into the neck muscles and the shoulder muscles. We're going to go into a forward bend now. If you've got a chair to hand and the chair works for you, you can use the chair. Otherwise, we're working onto a pile of blocks or similar. So I'll show you with the chair first of all. I'm just going to turn it side on. So if I'm forward bending to the chair, I'm a little way from the chair. I might, if I need to, bring my hands onto the chair first. I might have my knees a little bit soft. Top of the head, think about the flat of the top of the head, comes down onto the chair. If your chair is nice and sturdy and secure, which I hope it is, you might be releasing the arms to the side and stretching down towards the floor. You'll need to decide what's right for your neck. Okay, we should not be placing the whole of the weight of the body down through the neck. We're just looking to touch down. When we're in a forward bend, we can lift through those hips and get a lengthening into those legs. If you're working with blocks, you'll need to ascertain where you need to be with your blocks. So I know my hands will come down onto my mat. My pile of blocks are here. I come into my forward bend. My hands are down to the mat. Now you may see that I'm not quite stretching the spine there. So if I take that block away, I'm now able to get a stretch. I'm able to lift through my legs and release. Might be I can take another block away. Okay, it might be I can turn something side on. Obviously you might not have this many blocks. You might be trying to work here somewhere. And if you're using something that feels a little bit firm, think about placing a cushion on top. Adjust and work with what's right for you. Okay, so we're forward bending, we're lengthening the spine, we're lifting up through those hips. I'm aware I often lock my knees out, so apologies if I've done that. And then we steadily bring ourselves up. Be aware of your blood pressure, make sure you're comfortable, uncurl slowly. We're going to go into a little back stretch, take those hands behind the hips, draw those shoulder blades together once more as you take your gaze and your chest to the ceiling. I'm coming forwards again as you're ready. Rolling forwards, lengthening the head. See if you can bring that head down. Can you maybe adjust your pile of blocks, your pile of books? Can you maybe get the top of the head down? Work in the way that's right for you. Might be you want to bring that block a little further in. I know if I bring it further in, I'm going to need a little more height on it. Okay, so we're looking for the top of the head to be touching down. Steadily uncurling. Of course, if your hands don't come down to the mat, you might have a block each side and then more blocks in the middle. Experiment, work with what you have with your body. When we're ready, we can uncurl. And we'll take those shoulders back, arms wide, lifting the chest and the gaze to the ceiling. And releasing forwards. We're going to work into those hips a little now. When we work into those hips, we're going to go into our goddess squat. I want you to think about where those knees are going. So those knees want to go out over your feet. Feet are turned out to about 45 degrees. We can have the hands onto the hips. We can have a little experiment. It's like having a frog legs. If you're working to support injuries in either the hips or the knees, consider coming onto the wall. Heels are a little away from the wall. Feet are still turned out a little bit. We bring the back of the body onto the wall and we go into our squat. Okay, so think about there. Or you may be working onto your chair and you may simply be taking those knees wide. You might be able to come forwards a little, drop, sit up nice and tall, lift the rib cage out away from the hips. So we're going to use the goddess squat to work into our twist. So come into your goddess squat position. Now, are you happy to take those feet a bit further? Bottom should be dropping down away from the heels. Try not to tip. So we don't want this position coming through. We want to be hips behind. So we're going to go into a twist. Hands might stay on the hips or your arms might come up into goddess position. Elbows bent, palms flat. Twist to one side. It doesn't matter which side you're working from. If your balance is an issue, think about turning towards the wall so you can place a hand or even having a chair. Okay, so we're in that twist. We're nice and tall through the spine, dropping into those hips, weight in the feet. We'll steadily bring ourselves to face forwards, and then we'll twist to the other side. Try and keep the chest open, the spine upright, dropping into those hips, breathing. Bringing yourself forwards. If you're happy to, once more to each side. Remember, you're in control of this squat, how far down you are. So we twist to one side, tall through the spine, open through the chest. Breathing. We bring ourselves forwards, we twist to the other side. Whether you're on your chair, whether you're using support, whether you've straightened your legs, enjoy that twist through the waist. Come forwards. We can bring those feet in together. Even if you're on a chair, bring those knees in together and have a lengthening stretch to the ceiling. Really breathe into that stretch, creating space and lift through your spine. Breathing out, release your arms down. Dog posture with the support. So if you're onto the chair, this time the hands will stay on the chair and we walk the hips away. Your choice, either forehead down onto the chair or working away and dropping the arms, the head between the arms. If you're working onto your mat, you want the support to be under your head. So we bring those blocks together, we bring the hands down to the floor, we walk away a little, maybe stretching those arms away a little. We're in dog posture, forehead is touching onto those blocks. We should be dropping the chest between those forearms, lengthening the hips to the ceiling. Try and create some space between your rib cage and your hips. Breathing, lengthening the spine, lengthening through the sides of the body. You can come up whenever you need to. You're in control of this. You're working with your breath, with your body. When you're ready to come up this time, we find ourselves walking in towards those blocks, steadily uncurl, being mindful of how we feel through our head, through our blood pressure. Good. If you want to go down into dog again, please go down into dog again. So we come in to have those hands down by the block. So I'm going to take my hands a little further forward. So I'm going to try without the extra block. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to lower my head down to be on the edge of my block. Hands are still walking away. Remember, if that block, that set of books is a bit hard, pop a pillow, a cushion on top. Work with what you have. Think about creating that dog position. Hips are lifted, we should be triangular in shape. Lengthening through the sides of the body. Don't have to repeat if this isn't right for you. You can use a chair. Walk in. And steadily uncurl. We're going to go into our triangle posture, Trikonasana. So this is going to be our side bend. A wall is very useful for doing triangle at home because it can allow you to keep your hips and your shoulders in alignment. Now I know I'm going to struggle a little with space here, so I'm going to move this chair out of the way. I'm going to move my bolster out the way. Hopefully you can still get an idea of where I am. So now those feet are wide. I'm keeping my toes facing forwards for the security of my hip. If you're a natural person that wants to just take that foot out, you can take that foot out. If you've got the space, you're extending through your arms. I've forgotten to pick up my block, so allow me to just pick up my block. So I'm going to go over to one side. Doesn't matter which side you start. I'm nice and tall through my spine. I've created space between my rib cage and my hips. And I'm going to tip over. I'm bringing my block down to the floor. Now, if your block isn't tall enough, you might bring your hand onto a chair. You may just bring your hand down towards your leg. You might be tipping. Please work with what's right for you. I'm going to work from this position for the moment. So that top arm's reaching up to the ceiling, the shoulders are flat. My hips and my shoulders are in alignment. My heels are a little way off the skirting board. I can look up to that thumb if I want to. I can really feel the stretch and opening through the chest, through that top arm. When I'm ready to come up, I turn my head, breathe in and tilt up. And go to the other side. So let me just grab my block, while I adjust. I need to move a little over towards the door, otherwise I'm going to crash into the wardrobe. So I've got that lovely space, feet apart, legs working. Keeping the weight of the outside edges of the feet, arches lifted. In breath, I've lifted my ribcage away from my hips and I'm tipping over. Now, it seems I've misjudged. I can't quite get there this side. So I can either move my chair or, because I want to be in touch with the floor, I can bring another block down and I can go over. Stretching that top arm up to the ceiling, chest open, turning my gaze up to my thumb. Don't worry if you're not feeling balanced. You'll see that I've had to use an extra block. I don't go as far over this side. I'm lengthening. I'm getting an opening stretch here, an opening through the chest, an opening through the shoulder. Breathing in, I'm going to come up. I'm going to grab another block. I'm going to leave those there. You might want to consider working this way so that I can take my other block to the other side. So, breathing in tall, lifting away from hips, out breath, tipping over. Modifying as you need to for your space, keep yourself safe. Opening that top arm to the ceiling, looking up if you want to, or keeping the head forward. Really opening. Should be working those legs, but keeping weight into outside of feet. When I'm ready to come up, my head's turned forwards and I take a big in-breath to come up. I check I'm stretching through those shoulders and I wriggle myself over a little. Breathing in, lifting up, breathing out, tipping over. Hand onto block, top arm to ceiling. Lift and open. Breathing. Do you want to look at this thumb? Maybe the head moves better this way than the other side. Lovely opening stretch in your side bend. When you're ready, breathe in to tip to center. Bring those arms down. Bring your feet in together. I'm going to have a little forward hanging ragdoll to bring myself back to center. My feet are about hip width apart. I'm going to softly roll myself into a forward bend. If you want to, you can have a little hug in. So have a little release, bringing yourself to center. And steadily uncurl as you're ready. Wonderful. We are going to come down to the mat next. I'm going to have my bolster to hand for coming down to the mat. If you want to work in the chair for this, we're going to go into a back bend and I'll show you now before we go over. The hands come to the back of the chair. We open that chest and we back bend to here. Okay, so how are we going to do that on the mat? We come down onto a mat. You might have your bolster across your heels. So you'll see this is about right for me. As I open into my back bend, hips pushing forwards, my fingers come on to my bolster. If you are working with blocks, it might be that you're going behind and the blocks are coming down to the floor. Okay, think about keeping those hips forwards, lifting the chest to the ceiling, opening those shoulders. Our counter pose from that position It's going to be to roll forwards, head coming down to mat. It may be you don't need blocks under your head. So have a little experiment, find out what's right for you, get what you need in place. Remember, if you need to pad under the shins, you can, or work from your chair. Nice and upright through the front of the body, hips staying forwards, rolling those shoulders up and back, drawing shoulder blades together, stretching behind, either blocks down to floor or hands onto your bolster. Maybe you've got a pile of cushions or a sleeping bag, an old duvet. Pushing those hips forward, lifting that chest to the ceiling as you draw the shoulder blades together. Gaze should be up to the ceiling. Do open the mouth if you feel any sort of strain in the throat. When you're ready to release, curl head and shoulders forwards. Bring yourself down towards the mat. So where feels right for you. Pad as much as you need to, block out as much as you need to. Might be you want to roll away. Might be you want to come all the way down to your mat. We are going to repeat our camel posture, our back bend. This is really good again if you've been forward over technology or at your desk. Any props you need, are they in place? Breathing in, lift through the front of the body. And stretch those arms and shoulders behind. Straight through the front of the body, lifted through the chest. Gaze to the ceiling, open through your throat. You can stay here for as long as you want, lifting your chest. When you're ready to roll out, do roll shoulders and head. Bring yourself down. And we're in that position, that child posture. In a forward curl after our back bend, we give ourselves a moment for our breathing to return to normal. We're going to come into a forward bend position now. If you're working on the chair, you might want something like a bolster. I just use my modified one because it's lighter than my bolster. You can have your feet stretched away. Your bolster might be here or it might be this way, and we're having a little fold forward into a forward bend. If you would rather have this under your chest, then we can be here. I appreciate that I'm naturally forward bend, so it's wherever you need to be. Okay, so that's your modified position for working the chair. If we're down on the mat, we're sitting, and we're sitting nice and tall through those hips. Be aware of those hips settling and releasing onto your mat. Are you using a bolster? Have you got a pile of cushions? We're going to forward bend, bringing the head down onto the bolster, releasing the arms. So again, if you would rather, it can be here, it could be a little further away. The idea is that the head, the body is in touch with something, that you allow yourself to relax into a forward bend, but we've got some contact. We're not holding ourselves in midair. We're able to release the body forward. You can turn the head to one side if you want to, but it is better to have the head straight if you can. You'll see this is a little tall for me. In fact, I'm probably better off with maybe a little block and the cushion and softening and releasing forward. When you're ready to come up, roll yourself up. Hands are going to go behind hips. Chest to the ceiling, lifting the gaze. Are you ready to roll forwards again? Lengthening forwards. Allow your head or your chest to come in touch with whatever support you are using. If you find it more comfortable, do think about taking those heels a little way apart.
The idea here is we're feeling a stretch and opening through the lower back. That's where I want you to feel it. And you're able to release through the arms, the head and the neck.
When we're ready, we bring ourselves up. It's hands behind hips once more. Chest to the ceiling, gaze to the ceiling. Little back bend, counter pose after that forward bending. So I'm going to take you into one more forward bend, and that's going to be with the legs wide. So I'm going to turn slightly side on for you. I'm going to use my bolster for this one because I will need a little bit more height because I've taken the legs away. When I had things balancing on my legs, there was that extra height. Okay, so I'm sitting nice and tall, heels stretching away, and I'm going to lengthen along my bolster. I'm going to encourage my head to relax and release, my spine to release. Again, make any adjustments you need to if you would rather have this here. Maybe you're really, really flexible. Maybe you just got something like this. Forward bend, open through the hips. When you're ready, softly curl up. Release the hands behind the hips. Lift the chest to the ceiling. If you're happy to, repeating once more, forward bending in that wide leg position. I'm aware I've got lots of props all around me, so apologies if this seems complicated. We're stretching forward as we relax and release head, spine, shoulders, elbows. Little stretch and opening into the hips. If I want to work my legs more, I stretch my heels away, toes up. I release on my out breath. Breathing in, create space. Breathing out to release. As you're ready, roll yourself up. Hands behind hips. Lift the gaze to the ceiling, chest to the ceiling. Appreciate that opening, that counter pose. Keep height and space in your spine. And release forwards as you're ready. So a really good way of working into those hips is our cobbler posture. Cobbler is bringing the soles of the feet together. You might find if you're naturally really tight in your hips, consider sitting on something, sitting on a block, so that you can tilt forwards through the hips. You can't do this full position on the chair. Okay, so if you're going to work on the chair, think of just bringing one foot up, encouraging the knee out, and then bringing the other foot up and encouraging the knee out. Okay, I'm not going to work on a block because it doesn't work for me. However, what I am going to do is place a block under each knee. So this will give me the contact with the mat. If I focus, bringing the feet together, heels are wherever it's right for you. Okay, we're sitting up nice and tall, almost sitting bones. We're encouraging the knees outwards. So I'm hopeful you can see here that the knees are supported. If I drop the blocks down, the knees don't quite touch, but I can start to tuck those blocks underneath. So now I've got a sense really of the legs releasing down to the blocks. I can sit nice and tall. I can encourage my feet to push together. If you want to, you can take the backs of my hands onto the knees. If you want to, you can adopt a hand mudra. Sitting nice and tall, stretching and working into those hips. When we're ready to release from this one, we draw those knees in together. You might even curl down in towards your knees. Then we can lift our gaze, soles of the feet together and repeat. Dropping those knees outwards. Really do take the time to sit to lift the rib cage out from your hips. Taking a few moments to breathe. In-breath creates that space and opening. Maybe thinking of creating some space in the inner thigh or into your back. Breathing out to check you've relaxed, you're not tensing. If we tense, we hold that position, all sorts of other things happen, and we really want to be releasing into this posture. We can create the height and hold through the spine without creating the tension into the body. When you're ready, draw those knees in together. Have a little hug in if it suits you to do so. I'm now going to go into a laying position with my bolster under my spine. I'm quite fortunate the bolster is fine for me. It works for the length of my spine. If you're using something like a pillow, you may need to adjust. So the idea is that this is going to be my relaxation. Grab my eye pillow. My bolster is going to work where I need it against my lower back. So I know today I'm going to need it just a little way away from me because I've checked this already. I'm laying myself down. Let me make sure I put my eye pillow. This is allowing me to really open the shoulders and the chest. If you find it really doesn't work for you, just lay in your Shavasana or your semi-supine with your knees bent. If you have created a bolster, if it's not long enough, you might just want a couple of extra pillows. You might need it further away from the lower back. You might just need something to just bring you up a little in the head. Okay, so see what works for you. Do take your time to adjust, to get comfortable. And if you're using an eye pillow, placing the eye pillow over the eyes. Releasing those arms out to your side. I've got so many props that I've ended up crowding my yoga space. So I can breathe in here and really be aware of opening the chest. And as I breathe out, I encourage my shoulders to release, my arms feeling heavy. Take time to adjust. I'm just going to move that block away from my foot. Encouraging the body to release. There's no issue here. If you need to move anything, please move it. I'm going to talk you through the relaxation as I use it in my class. If you're happy to, your eyes are closed and you're breathing in and out through the nose. Find a position through your hips and your legs where your lower back is able to settle into its natural shape. Aware of the hips releasing down into your mat. Spine in a nice straight line, maybe lengthening from the top of the head to the tailbone. As you breathe in, create space between the vertebrae. As you breathe out, encourage your spine to release. Softening and relaxing through your shoulders, shoulders down away from your ears, falling into the mat. If it's comfortable for you, palms up to the ceiling. So we encourage an opening under the arms into the chest. A little length through the neck. Ears an equal distance from the shoulders. Relaxing and releasing across your brow, across your cheeks, and releasing through your jaw. Checking your chin's nice and level so you can breathe freely into your throat.
We have a nice steady flow of the breath, breathing in, creating space, breathing out to relax and release. Aware of the weight of your head, letting the weight of your head go. Soft breath. Relaxing and releasing through your upper arms. Space in your elbows. Lower arms relaxed. Space in your wrists. Feeling open through your palms. Relaxed through your thumbs and all of your fingers. Aware of the weight of your arms and letting that weight go. Bring your attention to the center of your body as you breathe in, aware of the tummy lifting, the rib cage opening and the chest rising. As you breathe out, the chest begins to fall, rib cage to close and tummy to release down. Breathing in, space, lift. Breathing out, relax and release. Soft across the tummy, released into your lower back. Relaxing and releasing across your hips. Upper legs soft and relaxed. Sense of space in your knees. Lower legs relaxing and releasing. Space in your ankles. Soft through your feet. Relaxed through all of your toes. Aware of the weight of your legs and letting that weight go. Aware of relaxing and releasing from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. As you encourage your body to relax and release, give yourself permission to spend a few moments simply relaxing. Choose just to be, to follow your breath. And beginning to deepen your breath, to bring your focus back into your body. Think about the movements you'd like to make. And as and when it suits you, having a little wriggle and stretch in any way that feels right for you. So it might be we're wriggling through those fingers and toes, through those ankles and wrists. You might be going for a lazy or a long stretch through. Think about whether you want to have maybe a little twist. Maybe you want to just drop those knees from side to side in a nice open twist. Maybe you want a little curl up, but obviously not if you're on your bolster. You can roll to one side, of course, and push the bolster out of the way. And whenever it suits you, bring yourself up to a sitting position. Sit in a position that's going to work for you, where you can have a nice long spine. Take a moment to adjust to being up from the floor. If you'd like to, taking a little lazy twist to one side, try and keep that spine upright. Breathing naturally. And then a little twist to the other side. As you're ready, bring yourself to centre. Or have a lazy side bend one way. And then we'll go to the other side, nice and gentle. Come to centre for a little lazy back bend. It might be drawing those shoulder blades together, looking to the ceiling. Curl forwards if you're happy to, little fold forwards down towards the mat. Steadily uncurling as you're happy to. Make sure you've got the space. Breathing in, reaching to the ceiling. Palms will lightly touch and really releasing on that out breath. Thank you very much. Namaste.